Our guest today is Matt Severson, co-founder and president of the School Fund. 4 years ago, you graduated from high school and you made a trip to Tanzania on a safari.
I met a little boy named John Meadow who was outside of our hotel cutting the grass for his family cow, and I went over and started talking to him. And he told me that he wanted to grow up and become president one day of Tanzania. And when I learned that he couldn't go on to high school and that it was only $150 per year, and that was the reason he wasn't going, I realized when I was meeting John that we were at a very similar point in our lives. You know, he, like me, had this fork in the road where he was either going to go on and get an education and have a shot at becoming president one day, or he wasn't. And so it was really that, that realization on my part that I was a person who had never had to question my ability to go on to school, but that there's people just like me all around the world who, that's just not the reality. And so I felt very strongly that, the people who have that chance should really help our fellow people who don't. I began to help John with that $150, and that was the beginning of our journey together.
I watched a great video on your website about how the rest of the program evolved. In fact, I want our viewers to watch this video as well. So let's take a look at this video.
Welcome to a developing country. Of the 1.2 billion children in our world today, 70 million cannot afford to pay for school. It could be the cost of a uniform, of tuition, or of books. And it's these minimal fees, as little as $150 per year, that keep students at home, in menial jobs, or on the streets. We want to help build a world where any student, no matter where they are born, has the opportunity to attend school, and where any school, no matter where it is built, can offer its students the experiences and education they want and deserve. It's in 12 countries in just 2 years, and it's growing faster and faster. We are building this world, a place where individuals come together and share their stories and dreams for a brighter tomorrow through a website. We began with one student in one village, and you can too. Join us and change the world, one life at a time.
So I've been back every summer to visit John and his family, and we've really, developed as friends. And he's graduating this year from high school, actually, which we're very, very proud of. We had no idea what we were getting into. I mean, we really just left John with, $150 that first year. Mm-hmm. But when we got home, this was me and another friend from high school who made that first trip together. We got home and we were thinking, oh my gosh, there's probably thousands, tens of thousands of John Meadows out there in the world. How can we help them? And so we began looking into kind of existing models for how students get scholarship funding. And we thought that, we could really bring some Silicon Valley, a tech angle here, and to develop a website that could actually connect people directly with one another. What we created is a website where people can go on and find students they might have something in common with. Yeah. So, for example, a student who wants to grow up and become a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer, or someone who likes math or physics, and then really get to know that student. So every student has a profile and a story. And then you can see exactly what each student needs to go to school. Like $35 for tuition, $29 for school supplies, et cetera, et cetera. And then the best part is that you can actually communicate directly with those students through this website. It's pretty simple. You go to the website, theschoolfund.org.
How do you spell it?
Theschoolfund.org. Exactly. And you can find a student that you might have something in common with. And then you fund them. It can be any amount, $1, $10, $100.
As little as $1.
Yes,
so
any amount.
Something pretty much anybody can get started on today.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
We like to show this one girl named Chiku Uhuru, who's also graduating this year from a high school in Tanzania. Uh-huh. And she's got a funder here from Santa Cruz, actually, California, named Anne, and they've written back and forth to each other probably 30 or 40 times, talking about the weather and the weekends, what they're doing, what sports they're playing, and how Chiku's doing in school, and they've really formed a strong bond. And what we've realized is that, we set out to do this thing to just raise money to send kids to school, but it's actually the communication piece that we really see as our greatest value add. We started working with other organizations who were already doing that, already working in communities, and we basically said, hey, here's this platform that allows, people in America and Europe, wherever, your donors to connect with your students in this very personal way. And so those partners are now putting their students up on the site. We're in 12 countries, several countries in Africa, including Kenya, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Malawi, and we've also gone into Asia, China, the Philippines, and India. So it's really, you know, a global need, and because it's so scalable, we've actually managed to get
And
going.
South America too, I believe.
South America, Panama, exactly. So I do think that there's this shift, and you know, with the internet, people are able to really see and connect with their fellow mankind, and I think that type of interaction is what can compel people, you know, who otherwise would have had no idea that in this remote country of Tanzania there were people just like them who didn't have access to education.
Yep.
You know, they would have had no idea 100 years ago, right? But now that everyone is so much more connected, I think it's kind of stirring up this common feeling and this common compassion amongst people to go out and help their peers in other parts of the world. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it, as the internet and you know, this ability to connect as being a key driver in solving a lot of these problems.